Excellent. Thank you very much, Eric. And we're going to spend the next 6 or 7 minutes or so describing exactly what we're doing. Hi, my name is Chris Roda, and I am here to represent iMyth. And we are here to develop, deliver happiness anywhere, anytime through your cell phone. Every year, millions of people spend billions of dollars literally traveling to out-of-the-way places just so they can jump into line with hundreds of thousands of other people, all in the pursuit of happiness. Now, the iMyth solution for happiness is developing immersive theme world experiences and delivering them to you anytime, anywhere through your cell phone. Now, happiness is all dependent on the individual. That's why iMyth immersive experiences are varied, and they're dependent on our customers, on what they want and need, and we're going to get that through customer discovery and collaborative interactions. Now, I've been working on this idea for a long time, but it wasn't until 2018 when I participated in a UCF High Core program that we developed the first iMyth prototype. And it was a VR immersive location-based experience, and it was a lot of fun. We showed it off to the Disney folks, Universal, Fun Spot. They all said, "Oh, this is great. When can we get version number 2?" Regretfully, 2020 came around, COVID happened, and that second opportunity never arrived. Then fast forward a couple of years, and a chance meeting of Rupert at a cigar bar introduced me to the concept of 1 million cups here in Orlando. And this proved to be a major pivot point in my journey, because that's where I met my mentor, Shan Shanbag. I knew that I needed to change my overall mental perspective radically if I was going to get this thing to actually work. And Shan was just the coach to bring about that mental transformation. He patiently worked with me for months as we hammered out our North Star. And that North Star is the ultimate reason why we're going to business. We came up with delivering happiness anywhere, anytime through your cell phone, with the focus on simplicity and super convenience. I am an instructor at University of Central Florida's Florida Interactive Entertainment Academy, and I've helped out electronic arts with games such as Madden football and NCAA football, and I've also contributed to other films such as Fifth Element, Titanic, and Spider-Man. Joining me is Jeff Worth, who is the director of the Interactive Play Lab. And Jeff literally wrote the book on interactive acting. You can go out and buy it in the bookstore tomorrow. As our advisory board is, many of you know Shan, but for those of you who don't, Shan is personally responsible for dozens of billion-dollar products that are manufactured throughout the world. And helping us out is James Moore, who is a current creative director at Falcon's Treehouse, and he's a former Walt Disney Imagineer. Now, our business model is verified through it can be repeatable, it can be multiplicatable, and it can have exponential potential for growth through our customer segment. And that is anyone with a cell phone, internet, and pursuing happiness. It's through simplicity and super convenience that we are aiming to convert them into stark raving fans and have them not be able to live without our services. Now, we don't see this as a competitive landscape. We see this as a collaborative landscape, because I could fill this chart up all day long with amazing companies, but we're going to focus on simplicity and super convenience, and that's going to be our competitive advantage over all these companies, including Apple, who has just announced they're going to come out with a $3,500 display device that you gotta wear on your face. But the growth potential for augmented and virtual reality is astonishing. It's estimated that the entire world market will be about $4.1 trillion by the year 2031. Just the Asian Pacific market alone is expected to be about 1.4 trillion, but here in the United States, it's expected to be about 560 billion, and that's where we're going to start. And the reason for that is that there are approximately 6 billion smartphone users in the world right now, but there are only 10% of them here in the United States. And that's supported by the games and entertainment apps market, which is about $200 billion, I'm sorry, and with the United States having only about, a quarter of that. So we're going to start locally here in the United States, and then we're going global. In order to realize our dreams, we're going to expedite our process into 2 phases. In 2023, we're going to focus on building our team, verifying our business model, and raising funds. We hope to raise $100,000 by September and $1.2 million by January. 2024 launches us into production, where our customers are going to drive what we create, our experts are going to help us create them, and we are going to drive right into the iMyth production cycle. Now we're just beginning, and so we're looking for other fearless adventurers who wish to join us on this journey. And especially we're looking for collaborators who can help us find our Chief Technology Officer, our Chief Creative Officer, and we're looking for legal assistance, especially with IP establishment and legal and ID identification. So we're expecting to create or raise $100,000 by September and $1.2 million by January. So thank you very much for allowing me to introduce iMyth, where you no longer have to go to Orlando in pursuit of happiness. Orlando comes to you, where you can pursue your happiness anywhere, anytime, as you desire. Now, before we go into questions, I'd like to invite Shan up here to share a few insights on what I just presented to you. Oh, and I just realized that my QR code is on the fritz, but I do know that this cell phone number is up and working, so if you want to get in contact, please feel free to drop me a line.
Thank you very much. That's fantastic. This is such a simple concept when you really think about it. There's 6 billion cell phones are there, smartphones all over the globe. 8 billion people wish they could be in Orlando. They can't. We're trying to help them meet their dream as soon as possible. What we are looking for is basically anybody can join this journey who would like to talk to you. We need a lot of help. We're trying to build a team. Okay? And if you can, think for a minute. Anything can go wrong, Right? But we know exactly where we want to go. We know our destination very, very clear. We know how to go there. And we have an amazing team. You can turn the team side. You have what? Jeff, where is Jeff? He's the guy in the back there. Yes. He has done it. You know, I want Chris to show how we got this started.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, Shan. Yeah, ultimately, where this started was when we were working on an attraction that some of you may have seen. A magical thing happened. We were going through a test show, and then the show started off as expected. The turtle came out, started talking to everybody, noticed a little boy in the corner. He says, "Hey, little squirt, what's your name?" Boy reached up, "Tommy." "Oh, terrific, Tommy. Where's your parental unit?" "Mom's back there." He says, "Oh, righteous. The show went on exactly as expected. We thought this was another fantastic show.
Where's Michael?
Oh, thank you very much. Except that after the show, we find out that Tommy's still there and his mother's in tears. we go over and we talk to her. We say, ma'am, is there anything that we can do? Anything we can do to help? She says, can I see your supervisor, please? We say, oh no, what did we do this time? So our producer comes over and she talks to him. Later, we find out that Tommy is autistic, and that was his first conversation. And it was that time that I realized that these immersive experiences have power, and they are the key to happiness, and we can bring happiness to the entire world. And so this is one of the reasons why that is part of my North Star for being involved in this, is to bring happiness to the world.
First question.
Yes.
So Chris, I was about to ask exactly what Sean asked you, because I believe that you need to start your presentation just like that, because you said that you guys deliver happiness. Happiness is not something that is equal to everybody, but you didn't say how. And then Sean just told you, tell about your story. Yeah, now I'm seeing how you deliver happiness. So the characters are, whatever you present on the screen are interactive. They talk to you, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And how do you assure that this will create happiness on me?
Well, thank you for asking, because it's all about interacting. Interactors are participants of theme worlds, and their sole job is to guarantee a rewarding experience through the participants. And that's where Jeff comes in. Jeff has written the book on interactive acting, and that's exactly what an interactor does, is they guarantee that everyone has a rewarding time.
So, Rod, and then
I think you're onto a gold mine. I really like the idea. A couple challenges that I saw. What is this compared to? Is it Pokemon Go? Or we need a high level concept that, because the whole first part of the presentation, I'm sitting here trying to think, okay, is it augmented reality? Is it, what are you doing that is your whole model?
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't get that through the whole presentation. I still don't know.
Okay.
The second thing is, I think Peter is right. The story that you told is what you start with, because it's all about getting the hook, and you didn't set the hook at all in the presentation. And so that would set the hook, and it would make me think through the whole presentation. But I love the concept, and I think your guys' credibility is off the charts. So I think you've got a gold mine. I think you'll get the money, but you need to just alter those two things.
Thank you very much for your input. Thank you very much. And that is an awesome observation. And yeah, Niantic is one of those companies that I mentioned before. Pokemon Go is definitely developed as a kind of a social app and something to go on. And we are developing immersive experiences. We're focused on narrative and story.
So iMyth is Pokemon Go for the theme park and happiness throughout the world instead of playing a game. You know, something, just a high-level concept that gets us right away.
Right, right. iMyth actually is a pun, and it's short for immersive theme world experiences. And so that's where the name iMyth comes from.
Sure, but I don't know that. And so as a listener, I need something super clear, super simple that's going to adapt that.
Of course.
Go on.
Yeah, thank you for your observation.
You bet.
Chris,
Yes.
great presentation. I mean, you've got something here with the horns. You really do. My question is, you're going for seed capital, apparently, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any idea when you're going to go public so we can all buy in?
Well, as soon as we can.
Sounds like a politician.
That's what.
So specifically execution, this is a lot of great credit. I can tell you that I want to fly 200 years ago. That doesn't make it happen. Who's the engineer on this? Who understands cloud computing? Who understands the burn rate, AWS? Who understands how hard augmented reality is? Who understands all those nuts and bolts? I've written code for Disney, NASA, for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
The execution on this, who is that person?
Well, we are still on the lookout and would appreciate any kind of assistance identifying a chief technology officer. I myself have a lot of experience, especially within the creation of augmented reality, virtual reality, and the production of creating the actual content and the executable. However, I'm going to be focusing mostly on the day-to-day interactions of conducting the business, and so that's why I'm looking right now for collaborative input with the chief technological officer. Yeah.
Can I just follow up on that?
Yeah.
That's kind of related. So what's in the next horizon as far as the next iteration of features for your prototype? Are you going to start to validate or test?
Mr. Pete, do you want to answer that?
The POC is important, proof of concept is gonna be the next
We'll
step.
be focusing on customer discovery. Okay, customer is going to tell us. That's where we are going to focus on as soon as possible. And based upon that, and customer will help us build the stuff. That's where our focus is going to be. We'll make sure our business model is extremely sound, highest priority, and we'll go slowly, but we want to go in the right direction. That's the key. So it will take some time, but we know exactly where we want to go. We're going for happiness. Customer tells us when they make it.
Question back here.
Hi, I'm curious, so do you have an application process for this, or people who are interested, say like what kind of experience they would want to have, and you create something for them, or you have like preset interactive experiences that you give out on your platform and you say anyone who's interested to participate, just pick what we already have?
Yeah, ultimately, that's a great question. Thank you for asking. Initially, it will be decided experiences that we understand and create through customer discoveries, finding out where the most of it. Ultimately, I have a dream that ultimately any kind of media resource that has been created or could be created is available to translate into an immersive experience. However, that's down the road. We gotta start to walk before we can run first. But yeah, ultimately it'll be controlled through customer discovery. Thank you.
Mike,
Yeah, I was just curious of a few things. I mean, first off, my background is in cybersecurity, and I've always been very concerned about interactive apps because of the level of access they have to your phones and devices and networks and things of that nature. What kind of APIs, I don't know if you even know this, but what kind of APIs do you have in place to prevent that kind of exploitation?
At this moment in time, I don't have any to exactly answer your question. I know exactly what you're getting to, and at this moment in time, that we don't have any. And so that is one of the responsibilities of working with the chief technology officer is to discover those.
Have you done a pre-mortem, like kind of figure out what can go wrong? Let's say in 2 years you're gone, you're out of business, what happens? And then what risk mitigation have you put in place for something like that?
As far as risk mitigation is concerned, of course, anything can happen, of course, along the way.
What's the most likely thing that's going to put you out of business in 3 years? Or
Well,
2 years?
You know, ultimately, anything can happen. And ultimately, we know where we're objective. We're bringing happiness to the world. But we're doing it in order to stay simple and super convenient. And using immersive experiences, we're going to continue pushing and pursuing this in order to bring that happiness to the rest of the world. And we're going to roll those punches. I've been doing this for a very long time. I'm going to continue doing it. Yeah.
All right, I have questions for you. Currently actually a Disney executive.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so I had it, my previous team was working on all our AI ML projects and was doing virtual reality for one of our attractions. Are you going to focus on one experience at a time? Because one, the content writing just for that attraction and just for the tech took probably about 6 to 8 months.
Yes.
Right?
I'm aware of
With
that.
a team of folks. So are you going to focus on one experience at a time? And then the second part of my question is, do you have a model where you're actually going to go to Disney and license these characters? And is that a part of your expense that you have accounted for?
Yeah, that is definitely within the objective, and you're right, this stuff does take time. Some people were asking why the $1.2 million? Well, this costs money and time, and we do have to hire a team in order to execute that, and I'm aware of the production costs. And you're absolutely right, initially we're starting off with one production at a time. And that's part of the iMyth production cycle. When we release content, we support that content. Oh, yes, I do, actually, thank you. Well, the iMyth development content is we release the content, support the content, but at the same time, we're developing content and pursuing research and development in order to keep pushing the technology forward. Because where we want to take this is obviously a heavy research and development opportunity. And it's something that we have to be aware and continually focus forward and continually investing in.
That's what we are trying to do. One thing I can guarantee, we don't have to worry about distribution at all. There are 6 billion smartphones in the pocket right now, or purses. I said, we don't have to spend a penny. We don't have to spend a penny on marketing. It's only word of mouth, period. I said, our challenge is making sure people can't live without it. Not like or love, without it. That's the hook. And the word of mouth will spread like wildfire. And I can see it within a year or two. Disney or Apple are stupid if they don't make it happen. They should buy us out. As simple as that. They can do it. Anybody can do it. There's 4.1 trillion opportunity. $4.1 trillion opportunity. There's about 5th largest economy in the world. Think for a minute. There are thousands of startups can participate in this. We don't want to compete. We want to collaborate. Like Peter Thiel said, he knows a little bit about startups. He's the one who put $500,000 in Mark Zuckerberg. Remember that. Okay? He knows it. So we don't worry about competition. If we worry about competition, we don't know how to make it. We want to collaborate. We want to help as many people as possible. Thank you.
Then I've got a question that kind of piggybacks off of that. And I'm not a big fan of exits. I think companies should try to last for a while. But if you sell in 5 years, what are you selling? Are you selling the content that you have created? Are you selling the talent that makes this, and that's what people are actually hiring you for? Or are you selling maybe the engine that you built in order to make the content? What have you sold in 5 years?
I imagine that could definitely depend on what the consumer who's purchasing is interested.
No, I'm talking about the Disney buys you out.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
What have they bought? The content, the people, or the engine?
Well, the IP is, if there's any original content, of course, they'd be purchasing the original IP. However, if it's other pre-existing IP, as imagined, then they would have access, or they would be obtaining the rights to the IP that we would have obtained. And of course, there is the engine, there is the technology, and anything that we put forth in order to get this engine up and going, yeah, they would have access to.
So you could work with somebody like Disney, use their IP, put it in through your process, and not license it, but sell it back to them. They've hired you for work for hire.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be, that's why we're collaborating and not necessarily competing.
Okay, great. Bob.
What is your happiness?
I am a storyteller. I am a storyteller. I've been telling stories my entire life. It's what makes me happy. It's what gives me inspiration, is to give inspiration to other folks, to make them feel good, to see an immersive experience and to see their eyes light up when they realize, holy moly, this is real. To see that in their eyes is just pure magic. To go into a theater that people have just seen a film that we've just created, and to see your name up there, and to have those folks going home realizing, wow, that was a great experience. That's to me, that's living. Yeah, that's what makes me happy.
All right, so final question is, what can we as a community do for you?
Okay, we're looking for teammates. We are looking for help both in our technology and creative and legal representation, and we're looking to raise $100,000 by September and $1.2 million by January. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you very much.